အားလုံးပဲမင်္ဂလာပါပြည်သူ့ပဏ္ဍရဲ့အတွေးခေါ်လမ်းအစီအစဉ်ကနေပြန်ပြီး
Minglava to all of you. We welcome you from the People Goals conversation. My name is Htet, the moderator. This is the 6th of August. In 2 days' time, it will be 8 August. 8 August is the 35th anniversary of the people uprising that occurred in 8 August 1988. I salute all the comrades and Mata in this people uprising. Today, we will talk about one of the pillar of the military, which is the religion. So the Junta use religion as one of their pillars. So in the past, the military utilized, abused the religion in order to maintain their power. So very recently, the biggest marble statue of Buddha image was opened in Naypyidaw. So this indeed is quite a talk, debates and controversial topics that people are talking these days. So we have this week topic mainly around the understanding of the Junta's religion, how they abuse it, how they use religion as the military culture, really to hold their power. So in this revolution, we also need to realize about the role of a religion. So that's why we have this week conversation from our program, namely Thought Process Program. We have invited our panelists for today. First, it's Venerable Wayama, and he is from Multi-Religious Network. He also consistently point out the fact that the military junta abuse the religion. And second, we have Nono Tassan. She is the Central Organizing Committee member of Democratic Party of a New Society. She is an activist for several decades. We also have a third panelist, Thuta, a CDM captain. He is very much interested in the role of religion in Myanmar society. So we have all these speakers going to talk about all the religious issue in relationship with how it is abused by the military in free manner. First, I would like to invite Venerable Wayama to take the lead for the discussion. So the military throughout all the history, the military junta throughout all the history utilize and abuse the religion. Why religion? It's very important for them to be utilized by them as such. So if you would share your opinion around that. Thank you. And the military junta are trying to exploit actually the religion for their own interest. But then again, what is the genuine teaching of the religion, in your opinion? If you could contrast about that. Thank you very much. The generation of the military junta, starting from Une Win, they try to monopolize the party politics in the country with one party dominant dynamic. So, but before that, after the independent, multi-party democracy was practiced for almost 14 years, and after that, the General Ne Win staged the coup, um, and they established socialist regime really to have one party dominant political landscape. So, talking about religion in this context, the Buddhist, it's the majority religion of the population. 80% of the population are the Buddhist, were Buddhist then. And knowing this kind of context, uh, they try to actually politicize the religion really to oppress the majority, to really distort the actual meaning of the Buddhism. So, as the first step, he organized the structure of the monks. So, he introduced a system really to frame the monk in one structure, starting from village monk structure, township monk structure, and the national monk structure. So this is how he tried to actually exploit the whole religion. But then again, in the real Buddhist doctrine, there is the teaching and there is the discipline. So there is teaching and discipline. With these two teaching and discipline pillars, you don't actually need to have all the structure, right? To have all the organizations such as the state Sangha Mahanayaka committee. So basically, if you would be any level of the religious monk structure, every monk is to follow the teaching and the discipline, and there are very clear rules of what to do and what not to do. But then again, they established that the state Sangha Mahanayaka committee, so they introduced all sort of rules and regulations and frames and legal frameworks and everything. But then again, the monk does not require to have all sort of legal framework. The monk, the religious, the Buddhism already has its teaching and its discipline. So basically, they use this state Sangha Mahanayaka committee. They really use this as the pillar or the instrument of the military junta really to control the monks, and in order to maintain the political power of General Ne Win, they had to control the monk population, they had to control the Buddhist majority, so that's why they use this state Sangha Mahanayaka committee as a tool to control everyone. And Unewen also explicitly said that um, the monk needs to be controlled, and monks would want to take some bribe, so that's why monk needs to be controlled. So this is explicitly mentioned by the General Ne Win, and monks were exploited really to distorted the actual teaching of Buddha and its Buddhism. So the thing is that the Buddhism is very much based on cause and effect, learning and practicing, and the righteousness it's to be understood through all the knowledges. And once you've gained this kind of knowledge, you have to practice it. So Buddhism also have the practice of chanting. The Buddhism also has the components of ritual as well. But then again, all of this learning and practicing are overshadowed by the covering routines. So what happened in the end is that the Buddhist community end up not really knowing the actual essence of the Buddhism. So the Buddhist society would end up believing only on mantra, chanting, and everything. So this kind of practices has been um, deliberately utilized by the majority. And some of the monks also play the role of the sense of fear. People fear, so the people sense of fear is used by some of the monks, saying that you know what, bad thing might happen, so that's why we will need to say some mantra to you, and we need to do some chanting, and only then you will be free from all the bad thing. So this kind of negative practices has been um, used quite a lot, which is not true really in the actual Buddhist teaching. The Buddhist teaching, it's all about having knowledge and practice themselves, and it's all about um, compassion. It's all about empathy. It's all about the reasonable negligence. But then again, what happened is that all of these Buddhist values are overshadowed by all the other things. So the mental chanting, saying right rituals, really to overcome the sense of fear. It's what people care only about as the value of the Buddhism, which is not true. But then again, the military Honda use this sense of fear really for the people not to really understand the genuine meaning of their religion. So some of the monks use the concept of popularity. So with the concept of popularity, the actual meaning of the Buddhisms were overshadowed, and there were all sort of um, and there were all sort of a conflict, religious conflict that the military junta used really to control their own power, such as the conflict between Buddhisms and Muslim. So this is all based on the sense of fairness. This is all based on the sense of popularity. This is all based on the sense of military Honda using the psychological warfare. And this is the main reason that the people are having all sort of hardship in the past. But then again, people are not that naive anymore. Again, the Buddhism is about righteousness, and if there is injustice, injustice needs to be addressed, and then all the struggle is to be addressed. So this is a genuine meaning and the value of the Buddhism. Thank you very much.
ဒီဒုက္ခရဲ့ဖြစ်စေတဲ့အကြောင်းတရားကိုကျွန်တော်တို့ရှာဖွေပြီးတော့ဟို
What you mentioned is about the cause and effect of the struggle to be well understood and practice to overcome them. This is the genuine meaning of the Buddhism. This is what I learned from you. But then again, all of this perception has been distorted by the military junta. The military junta manipulate the sense of fearness of the people to gain their power. And in order to gain their power, they use religion in a very different way than that it meant to be. So people know only about mental chantings and everything. So thank you very much for all of your contribution. Now, I would like to give the floor to Siama Nuno Tessan. People talked about that the country has to be a secular country in order to have a better structure of the country. So now, what I would like to ask to you is that being secular, uh, a country being a secular, why people have this kind of opinion, and what kind of changes that you have to anticipate if the religion and politics is to be separated in a country. So I also would like to ask you that currently we have religion and politics all mixed up. But then again, in the future, it has to be all separated, what it would mean for us. If you can share your opinion. Thank you very much.
Thank you for the question. How I understand is that religion is something that each of us individually believe in, and this is where we keep our faith in. And the faith or what we believe in is very different, it's individual. But politics concerns the collective. It is about public. It's about all of us, of the society. It's about development. It's about economy. It's about health. It's about services. It's about education. It's about, politics is a system that helps people so that they can live together, so that they can work together and harmoniously in a country or in a society. So when it comes to politics, you need policies, you need laws, you also need short-term, medium-term, and long-term activities and programs, as well as building relationship with the neighboring countries or other countries as well. So politics concern every citizen or that everybody who lives in a country. So, but however, religion is something individual, something that people choose to believe in. So for me, the religion and politics are two different things, and they should not be mixed. That's why I support the concept of secular state, that religion should not be in the politics, and the religion comes from the freedom of belief, a freedom of faith, a freedom of expression, and that people, it is important to recognize that each and every one of the people have their right to believe in something they choose to, and we don't have to say this country of this religion. No, the country doesn't need to be built on a particular religion, because if we mix religion in the politics, it will be very difficult. And we have seen as well, I think, in the venerable Wayama also explained that what are the teachings of the Buddhism, for example, that first speaker has already explained kindly about it as well. By mixing or by putting by intermingling religion with the politics, the military that have done it on purpose, because they want to put militarism, they want to brainwash the people into thinking that religion is part of politics. And this is something not only we have seen with the military, and sometimes some of the politicians themselves are not very clear when it comes to such concepts. So because they want religion to use as a pillar to support the militarism and militarization, because the military use the monasteries as well as on the religious edifice or monuments as part of their militarization, that if that people who exercise or practice a religion are honest and earnest in their belief and content as well. But because our religion is something we hold dear, something we believe in, so they say that the religion it's very easy to use it as well. So that if there are those who believe, who have the knowledge, who have the awareness, they can be very difficult to use use it as well. But therefore, for people who who are opportunistics, who want to use the opportunity. And I'm talking about just about religion, about the religion. I'm talking about religion in general, not just for Buddhism. It could be animism, it could be Hinduism, it could be Islamism, it could be other Christianism as well. In any religion, there are both the followers and religious leaders who are opportunistic, who want to seize the opportunity to gain more gains for them, and they incentivize the religion, that they will promote the particular religion to follow them, to support them, because they know the religious leaders are important. They know their military understand the religious leaders are influential and they can influence their community. So you use the influential person to provoke conflict among the people. in Myanmar, where we have the people usually say that the majority of the population that follow Buddhism. So, of course, military use that really the conflict between two communities or two different religions using weapons, but they use weapons to force people apart, and yet people go back to their harmony, people go back to what they are. So by resolving militarily a conflict or community conflict, religious conflict, they're sharing that the military is in a way showing their power too. The way the military have exercised is that they have always militarized the concept, that their religion, and that they are pushing the religion in the politics in such a way the military is needed to gain their foothold in it as well. For me, religion is individual right. It's a right of a private person. Is that a person has the freedom to choose and then decide what to believe on. However, livelihood, which is concerned the politics, and livelihood concern every one of us in a country. So for me, it is important for a country to be secular, to make sure that the religion is separated from the politics. Although the secularism has been a hot topic in the past, but nowadays people are talking more, people are more understanding about secularism, and more politicians have a better awareness about the secularism as well. In the past, politicians are not very clear about secularism, and they tend to think that secularism means the religion will suffer. No, it is not. But however, in other countries, there are countries which are built upon the religion. There are also many successful countries which are secular, and they do not oppress any form of religions exercised by the people. But what we have seen in such country, where even in the countries where they were able to, they build a country on a balance, but when a religion has the culture and the customary practices or customary laws, then for the people, customary practices are very a lot, and that when different communities have different customary or cultural practices, by using customary laws that is relevant to one religion might not be the same for the other. So in a way that also make it easier for those in power to politicize the religion, to exploit the religion for their gain. So I totally support the concept of secularism in a country. Thank you, Siama, for the points that you have made. Here in this discussion, we are also talking about that we have learned that religion differs greatly from the politics. Religion is an individual right, an individual choice and selection. However, politics concern each and every one of us and the needs for religion. So, but I also that I think you also made a very important point, particularly in Myanmar context, that the military, that religion is politicized, religion is exploited as well. If we look back in the history from the first empire for the Bagan period, and that Buddhism even reached Myanmar not through peace, what they use a military expansion, and that militarization is always connected to the promotion of the particular religion as well. So it's also interesting to see, look back in Myanmar history, religion, any religion like Buddhism always values loving kindness as well as compassion, and yet it is the Buddhism misused as a way to militarize the country. So it has been interesting to see the reflection and to think in comparison to Myanmar past. Thank you for that. Next, I would like to invite Konyi Thuta. Konyi Thuta, I hope you're here. Okay, so I would like to ask you, Konyi Thuta, our third speaker. So my question to you, Konyi Thuta, is as a senior officer, what do you think is a religion as understood and practiced by the military leaders? How does the military see the religion? And what about you personally? How do you see or understand religion, and how that differs, the religion as accepted, acknowledged, or believed in by the military, and your personal opinion or perception of religion? When you do that, the floor is yours.
ဟုတ်ကိုညီတို့တာ line ကျနေတယ်နော်
Our speaker Kunyiduda might be facing some technical difficulties, so please bear with us. Since Kunyiduda is not able to join, then I would like to give a chance to Venerable Wayama. So there is a follow-up question for you. Earlier, you have shared that the military use the religion because military is something people believe in and it's easy to mobilize the people, and they exploit that people's faith and people's following to exploit that as well. Like that, if you listen to the military propaganda, they will say that democracy means bad for Buddhism, and that democracy means ending the Buddhism, and that if the Spring Revolution is successful, the Buddhism will be lost. And that kind of propaganda we've seen a lot in Htet, but there are some regards to Buddhism as well. If we look at the pro-military militia groups like Pisoti or the Blood Brothers, Thuta groups, they always use that they need to protect Buddhism, they need to protect the Burma identity. So that in that on such propaganda, people are quite concerned about it. So what will be the message? That do you really think that revolution or this or that movement for the democracy, does it really threaten Buddhism? Well, one thing to say when regarding your question is that that if there is, when we gain the democracy, the Buddhism, there are some monks. I can say that someone will say that, well, the democracy means is that the ending of the Buddhism as well. That there was a monk from the Bawa Yeta, or that they have they have that registration committee, and they were saying that Aung San Suu Kyi and that the president should retire as well. So it is just a monk. He is a monk. He is a Buddhist monk, and that a Buddhist monk. He is one Buddhist monk, and he does not represent the entire Buddhist community or the Sangha or the Buddhist monks as well. And that yes, whenever as a monk, you can talk about Buddhism. That if you also study about other languages, other religions, and talk about other cultures, that will be respectable. But here we have a Buddhist monk, and that is monk speaking politics. And when the politicians, the work of the politician is to have good policies for the country, and that for that as well. So a politician works for the country, work to have a good political system, good laws. They can be from any religion. They could be Buddhist, they could be Christian, they could be Islam, or they could be an atheist, but who believe in the morality or the ethics of their society as well. And that there are such noble statesmen and politicians who have sacrificed everything for the sake of the country. And that in a country where people need to be free from fear, the people need to be able to exercise the freedom of expression, freedom of belief, and freedom of religion. And they do that. They become politicians or statesmen not to gain a position, but they are using the position they have been assigned to for the greater good of the country, and they represent the country, and they represent the community because they do their good thing. In such a way, I would say that a politician, a statesman who takes great work of the community is what much more for the society. A religious leader will be important for the community, but it is also important to understand what democracy is. If you want to do that, so democracy is giving people a choice, giving people the choice to be part of the system, to have a good system, good education, good health, a good protection system. So that is important because a country needs to improve. A country needs to go through that as well. So these are what democracy can bring to us. So when I say democracy is where people have the right to choose. People have the right to choose the government, and then people will choose the people who will do the good things for us as well. And they will choose the good statesmen. They will choose the good politicians, because only the good statesmen and politicians bring good policies as well as the good laws, and they will also be able to guide the countries towards improvement. And it is important to select good people, good politicians, and not because they can be at a position, but there are many egoists who focus on the ego as well, the dhamma or the truth of the Buddha is very simple. The Buddha is that, always about learning oneself. It's about reflection. It's to be able to find your inner self. It doesn't matter the quantity. Buddhism is always about the quality. It doesn't matter you have how many Buddhist followers in Myanmar. It doesn't matter we have 300,000 monks or 400,000 monks. It doesn't matter. It depends on the quality. So the most important thing in Buddhism is first to be able to have the empathy, and that, and also is second important I believe is that impartiality and neutrality. Impartial as in impartiality can be in different ways. Impartiality for the interest of self-gain, impartiality due to fear for freedom, also due to fear for his life as well. And that there are they say that, and there are also for the empty followers to the religious leaders as well. And that because other people support you, or because people say people cheer up, doesn't mean that you can't or you have the right to attack or patronize other religions. Like the other speaker said that it is important to be secular. Religion should do what religion needs to do, and religion should not be in the politics as well. Politicians need to work to improve the country, to make the country richer, prosperity of the people, and the religion should work on the helping the other. It could be Buddhism, it could be Christianism, it could be Muslim, or it could be any other religion. The religion should focus on its people and the religion as well. And democracy is politics, and democracy is the choice of the people. People is your do that. So it is democracy is a system where the majority have able to have two chances to say whether the 1%er or the rich or the powerful cannot control them, will have to listen to the vote of the minority as well. So that whenever there is a problem, there is a conflict between a two religious leader or one religious community to another or another religious leader, it is important to investigate and find out who is at fault and to be able to take action. And that's the essence of democracy. So to be able to keep it very short as well, that it doesn't. Some of the religious leaders tend to think that we need to have followers, so they will say things that will provoke people. They will provoke. That is what. So they are not. Instead of encouraging people to be able to have a confidence of the self-awareness or self-esteem, the Buddhism, the essence and the teaching of the Buddha is to be self-confident, to have the self-esteem, and then to be compassionate, to be empathetic, and to be able to avoid and deny the greed as well as on the hurting the other people. It is not that the Buddhism teach about not stealing, not looting, not gaining others people things. But however, when you have a military hunter who is looting, who is exploiting the resources, who is misappropriating the state resources, and that they call themselves the Buddhists, and then they support the certain Buddhist monk who follow their idea, it is not Buddhism. We should be kicking out of the Buddhism itself. That it is also important to listen to the Buddhist monk who are actually teaching the essence of the Buddhism as well. It is my request to all the religious leaders from the Buddhism or Islam or Christianism. So please forget about the bribery or what is offered by the military. Forget about the cars offered by the military or the big monasteries they are offering or the money they are giving. Try to exercise the essence of the Dhamma or the rightness. It is important to follow the teachings of your religious leader in his essence as well, so that it doesn't matter, that for us in Myanmar can gain democracy, where we can be able to bring an end to the dictatorships. Then the majority cannot bully the minority. And so the same goes for the religion, the same for the ethnic communities, where we have a system that protects the individual and corrective rights of the people, and we have no way to be worried about the Buddhism that the Buddhism will disappear and it's going to extinction. No, Buddhism is all about about avoiding the impartial, avoiding that there's a partiality. They do not that Buddhism teaches about remaining impartial despite the fear, despite the threat, despite the that bribery, and despite the temptation of the corruption. It is important to focus on your ethics and morality, and in a good livelihood, and in a kind livelihood, in the sense that it will not harm the others, it will not be at the expense of the others, it will not be about a misappropriation of the resources or the own right others as well. So what we have seen is that right now, what the military is using is the military using this defense budget, and the money that goes to the defense budget should have been used for the education, should be used for the health, but that it should have been that they are using it by extracting resources above and below the ground, and that the resources they extract are being used to kill its own people, kill our own people, and they are in a way basically violating the essence of Buddhism, and that there are certain monks, certain Buddhist monks, these crazy monks who think nothing about that their own fame or that money or that the privileges that come with it, that can be associated with the military. Of course, they will support the military, and they will not think about the truth. They would not have the courage, and they dare not teach the real essence of Buddhism. They don't practice it. They don't even, and I wonder if they really understand this of the Buddhism, and that's why they say that the kind of Buddhism they want might disappear. So they will say that that's why they are trying to to raise the unaware public and awoke public that democracy means the end of the Buddhism. So another word I would like to add is that do not need to think about the Buddhism in a station on it. No, it is important to be we need to realize that some of the monks will be pro-military just because of the gains that they are being given as well. So Buddhism and the Buddhism or the religion any religion should be secular around this world. There are different beliefs around the world. It doesn't matter which religion you are in. The essence of the religion is about finding peace, about helping others. So it is important to be honest. If a Buddhism is saying we should only focus on Buddhism, we should not also help the other religion or other community, then that is not right. That is not true. That is not the essence of Buddhism. So the essence of the Buddhism is focused on the inner peace, not about the physical material. It's not about the physical prosperity. It's about the mental prosperity. It's about the mental growth. It's the inner peace. So it is important to think about they have a good conscience, that it is able to live in a free that exercise that conscience as well. So if you look at it, any religion around the world, the religions itself had never harmed any other people. Religion always encourage learning, teaching, that raising awareness, and that there being compassion as well. I think I have already answered to your question in that through my words as well. It is important that the religious leaders need to be aware about what they're saying should not be bringing harm to the others, and the religion should not be harming other people, other religions, and that it is important to remind our people, that our community, by saying that it is important that there are also it is also important that Buddhism should be free from telling people that you're poor because of the past misdeeds you have done, or that if you don't do this, or if you don't donate to the monks, that you'll never go to the heaven. No, it is important to make sure that it is important to focus on the real issue, the real point of the living in the presence, being mindful, as well as on the being aware of the cause and effect or the karma. And it is important to have a good religious student to be able to have a good religious followings too. Thank you, Venerable Wayama. So I think the key point you have made is religion is not about having expectations. That religion is always about not about reciting, but about exercising itself, and that is also about so in any religion, it is important to promote the religion as such way that focus on the raising of people's awareness, that knowledge, as well as and the understanding as well, so that that will not hinder the democracy or the political development as well, in a way, by making the religion secular, and that focusing on the essence of the religion, it will in fact support the development or vice versa, development of the politics or vice versa. I would like to invite Thuta now, that we already have two other speakers have talked about that religion as well. Thuta, as a CDM that you have experience living in the military. So what is religion? How is religion perceived in the military? How does the military leadership see or understand the religion? And that in the military, as a concept, how do they use religion to influence the rank and file? And that what about you yourself, your understanding of religion, your perception of is, how does it differ from that of the military or the military leadership?
First of all, in the military, they give priority to the Buddhism. So they would like to establish the Buddhism as the only religion of the military. There are monastery, there are pagoda in the military camps and everything, but then again, there is no churches, there is no mosque, there is no other non-Buddhist uh, uh, religious infrastructure. They tolerate Christianity, but they have restriction on the Islam practices. So in the military camps, in the military places, they do not consider uh, special requirements of the Islam individual at all. What they say is that Myanmar is the only country where the Buddhism is strong in the world. So the military has to back up the Buddhism as the religion of the country, or otherwise the Buddhism will be faded in the world. So this is their narration. So this is very much explicitly mentioned by the military leaders. So as the consequences of all this, within the military, of course, there is no democratic practices. It's only the top-down hierarchy practice. Um, there are religious Buddhist religious ritual practices on the weekend, and so they have to gather in the praying hall, and they have to have the collective saying on the mantra, so in which there might be some soldiers who practice Christianities, but everyone have to follow the Buddhist chanting. So this is the way that they practice. So what they are trying to say, what they are trying to do is that they want to have everyone Buddhist, and if there are non-Buddhist population increase, they clearly say that it is the failure of the Buddhism. So they say that they cannot afford having this kind of dynamic. So I know that it was wrong to have this kind of theory. For me, what I believe is a country has to be a secular country. Um, there are other narration by them saying that if there would be democracy, people will choose religion freely. So if it would be such case, the number of Buddhist population will be decreased. So this will be the failure of the Buddhism. So this is the brainwash message of the military, and the soldier tend to believe that. So what they say is that they will destroy people life, they will destroy people property, but on the other hand, in the weekend, the soldier are sent to the monastery and saying mantra and doing collective chanting. So it is the practices of each and every military camp. In each and every military camp across the country, they have to have a weekly chanting in the praying hall. So basically, the soldier live in their own life. We are doing good deeds. We are protecting the religion. So we are protected in a way, and we are the protector as well. So I think this is a kind of their mentality. and Tidagu monk also said that, well, you are fighting for the religion, which is a good thing to do. So they are appreciated. So they are motivated by such kind of messages by the religious leader. So the soldier would say to their family that, you know what, we are waging wars, but this is for the religion. We are doing good deeds. If we are negatively criticized about our action, then these people are not in line with the Buddhism. So this is what they believe, that they are the protector of the religion. But on the other hand, they are actually damaging the image of the Buddhism, actually. So this is how they try to, how shall I call it, institutionalize Buddhism within the military institution. So for me, what I can say now is that my grandfather was a Islam individual. My parents are the Buddhist. I have a lot of Christian friends as well. When I was young, I went to mosque. I was a boy, and I could go to mosque, and I joined my friends to their Sunday churches, singing choirs and everything. And I have Hindu friends as well, and I joined them to go to their monastery. And of course, I am Buddhist myself as well because my parents are. So, what I learned is that religion, in one word, it's to make sure that the righteousness it's within the humanity, no toxics in terms of idea. It's to be there. But the religious leaders, the religious leaders and the monks and all these people are um, trying to have a better life by acting as the brokers of the religion rather than the believer, rather than practitioner. Buddha himself uh, was uh, 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 the one who welcomed the diverse background of individual to learn about um, what he enlightenment. So basically, it's about a process. It's about practice. There is nothing to compete. There is nothing to win. There is nothing to lose. It is just only for your inner soul or inner mentality really to evaluate yourself. But all these religious brokers compete among themselves. They try to win over other people as well, and they try to mobilize their followers by using all sort of past life dreams, saying that, well, you know what, if you donate this and that, you will go to heaven, and if you do bad things, you will go to hell. So religion was used as a fear factor for the people to follow what they are told by these religious brokers. So it is almost like end up being give and take sort of dynamic between the follower and this religious brokers. Now, let me talk about religions. There are major religions, there are small religions as well. I have friends who practice Sikh as their religion as well. So I'm talking about religious minority, I'm talking about religious minorities, whoever they are, whoever we are, the religion should not overshadow the country power. The religion should not overshadow the the pillars of the country, the executive, the legislative, and the judiciary. And again, everyone needs to be um, follow the rule of law. If there would be particular dispute, the wrongdoer must take responsibility and accountability. If the wrongdoer is a religious leader or just a simple individual, so we don't have to worry anything. This is an ideal situation that I'm talking about. Truth must be truth, nothing else but truth. It's the system that we want. So, in short, what I would like to say is that the military is exploiting the Buddhism as the religion to um, to really fulfill their own interests. They narrate themselves that they are the protector of the Buddhism. They are following the the they are the only one following the uh, true practice, true Buddhism. Every other people, I mean, other people are wrong, and they want to establish the Buddhism nation. I think they are all wrong. We really need to have a country in which politics and religion must not be mixed. Thank you. Thank you very much for your contribution regarding the religious dynamic in the military institution and your future thought of the secular country as well. Thank you. Now, we I would like to invite Nuno Tessan again. And after the round of panel discussion, we will have the open floor discussion among our panelists and the audience as well. Please make sure that you have question in the Q&A box as well. And now back to Nuno Tessan. We talked about there is a need to have a secular country. In order to do so, the people awareness needs to be changed, the country system needs to be changed, the society culture needs to be changed as well. And now I particularly would like to talk about the role of the people, the public. What should be the public role to have the changes of to have a change in the country in order for it to be a secular country, and what what role people can play for them not to be being exploited in this religious related conflict. Thank you. Well, we all want to have or consider to have the federal democratic countries. The federal democratic countries has its own values. So there are many values to be such country. So the people's rights are very important, right? To be the value as a value of the federal democratic country. So the Bill of Rights, it's very important to be enshrined. So individual rights is to be respected, and people have rights to think innovatively as well. So human rights, it's the value of this kind of vision. The democratic principles are to be there. You, I mean, we need to have a right to elect, and we need to have the right to be elected as well. That is one of a value in the future in our future vision. And the minority rights, it's to be there. Within the minority rights, we are referring to the rights of the small religion as well. And there are also minorities who do not follow any of the religion, whether it is a majority religion, major religions, or the minor religions. So we all have to, I mean, they are all to be respected as well. The equality and self determination, it's to be there. So in the units needs to have their own self rule. The units of the federation needs to have their own self rule to practice their own local governance. So all of this are to be respected. Collective leadership is another value of our future democratic federal country vision. So now talking about collective leadership, the leadership capacities are to be there, the policy level competency needs to be there, and legal capacity needs to be there, procedural capacity needs to be there. So all of these capacities are to be collected in the leadership. And now let me talk about the diversity and mutual respect. It's another value that this country need to have in the future. There are diversity in terms of religion, in terms of culture, in terms of linguistic perspective. All of them are different. All of the differences are to be respected and mutually recognized as well. And we need to have the cohesion as well. And this is another value. So cohesion among diversity is very much important to have as the particular value in the country. There are difference in terms of practices. There are different in terms of what you worship. There are difference in terms of what you believe. But all these difference are to be recognized and respected among themselves. That would create the unity and solidarity and sense of unison as well. Now, let me talk about the gender perspective as well. So we start having wider acceptance of the role of a woman in every level of the society. But then again, it's whenever we talked about the gender rights and gender perspective, we are not only referring to the woman. There are homosexuals, there are lesbian as well, there are gays as well, there are transgender as well. So all of these perspective is to be respected, and all of them needs to be inclusive. So then everyone would be able to play their own role in building a new nation as well. Discrimination, free from discrimination, it's another important value that I would like to say. When it comes to the equity, it is to say that there it's no discrimination. So discrimination based on race, religion, gender, your background are subject for all sort of discrimination. There are deliberate discrimination, there are unintentional discrimination. So things can happen in that way. So all of these happen based on um, based on all our past context, right? So if we want to have the federal democratic country, a new one, we need to actually practice all this value. Now, talking about the role of religion, religion is an individual decision. whether you want to believe some a particular religion or whether you do not want to believe in a particular religion. It is your individual choice. So that kind of individual choice must not uh, must not be imposed to other people as well. So it is very important that no one shall not influence or interfere this kind of concept to another one as well. So in order to have this kind uh, of self-determination of the individual for what they want to practice, then the country needs to have a secular practices. So I just want to give you a particular example. So in our country, uh, uh, Myanmar has people that they want to build a nation of Buddhism. So as the consequences of it, in Myanmar school, there are Buddhist teachings, there are Buddhist praying. It happened on every morning. All these religious symbolic practices are good itself, but it must not be the practice of school. The school, it's a places where you have all the diverse individual in terms of religion. So of course, in the Buddhist monastery, they will practice all the Buddhist rituals and everything. It is a place to practice of such of such religion. Of course, in church, all the Christian practices will be freely exercised as well. Same goes to the mosque. So these are the designated and dedicated places to practice their religious rites. But when it comes to the public school, when it comes to the public places, so in when it comes to the public places, using only one religion influencing to everyone, it's not an ideal. So it is also a very uh, a sinful practice that if a teacher would impose non-Buddhist student to practice Buddhist practices. So I think it is something very wrong, right? And and I also would like to say one thing that there were in the past the religious leader trying to uh, motivated their follower to attack on other religion. So this is such a sinful practices. So what I would like to say that whichever religion that you practice, whichever religion that you believe, please follow the teaching and doctrine of your own religion. Please explore the religion that you practices yourself. And there is a need to have an enable environment that the multi-faith individual can openly talk about the multi-religious uh, perspective. So then the mutual respect will be formed and religious crisis would not happen. And in that kind of structure, the social democratic uh, in that kind of structure, the federal democratic system might be there, and that would guarantee and protect all the different religion. So this is something that I would like to mention that our future should look like as such. Thank you. Thank you very much for your contribution. You mentioned about that the religion could be subject to be exploited to build their own interest, to build their own power for those who want to do wrong thing. And you also share about all the values for our um, vision for the democratic federal country. So in such vision, each and every individual can play their role so that they would be contributing the the building of the future democratic country. Thank you very much. Now we are reached to the point that we will have the open floor for the discussion. If you would like to have any particular question raised, please type it in the chat box or raise your hand. While we are waiting for more questions from the participant, I would like to give floor to Nituta. We have discussed about the mixture of the politics and religion, which is not true. This is such an old ideology since this country had, even from the Middle Age. But why this old idea? It's very difficult to change, in your opinion, Konituta. Thank you.
So in most religion, if we look at the history, many of the religion has also had made mistakes. As Christian also have made mistakes. Islam religions also have made mistakes, and then Buddhists also have made mistakes too. To the extent that if we look at it back in the history, even there will be like people, there will be like groups of the particular religion. They will work together to to commit the such mistakes, and they build this kind of they were built there's groups and collective, and that maybe they don't feel that they are making a mistake while they are doing that, but there has been a mistake and there has been issues as well. So if you look back on the history, and that forming groups and collective, it can also bring us to a better stage, but it can also make us commit wars crime as well. That that in a way that that can also that will also has lead us to also do the make worse things as well. So that in other words, if we learn from the history, if we learn from the past, that the founders of the religion have noble ambitions, but when a religion is handed over from one generation to another, we cannot exercise all that intention that has been the foundation. So we need to reflect on ourselves. Why are we opposing other religions? Why are we pushing other people? Why do we need others to believe in the same thing we believe in, the same religion? And we need to ask ourselves the question. For me personally, I consider myself a non-religion. I respect Buddhism. I think Buddhism is good. I also respect Christianism because I have learned a lot from the people forming institutions or collectiveness, or the group. I have worked in the military as an institution, and when you are part of an institution, you feel your freedoms limited as well. That because they form groups and they always hold that you have to work for the interest of that group as well. The entire military itself is now they know that this is some of the they know what they are doing is wrong, but they need to continue doing it because they want to bring it for the good. So in the religion, in the same way, in the religion as an institution, it's the same as well. There are those who are working really for the good, but there are also those who are also protecting the sake of the institution by deeply participating in the institution. And you know that, it's being part of an institution is not an issue. Being part of the collective is not an issue. Being serving in the military is not an issue. That be a member of a religious community is not an issue in itself. But whenever the leadership or particular organization or institution, if they are on the wrong way, and then there will be negative implications, not just in Myanmar, we have seen that happen in other countries too. So for me, the most important is that in the history, we are facing insecurity. We are facing psychological insecurity. We create that insecurity by ourselves as well. When that we want to that I want to be that we need to be among the people of the same faith to feel secure psychologically. So we need to reflect on that. We need to assess on that. Why is that? So why do we need to feel secure by with others? Why do we want to dominate other religions? Why do you want other people to follow the same religion, the same faith? Your choice. You choose to believe in something because it is the best for you, but it might be the best religion for you. It might be the best faith for you, but it might be different from the others. Other people have different cultures and practices and social upbringing as well. Some people often tend to feel, people want to, once you buy something, a product, and you feel this is great, and then you want to buy it as a gift and, give it as present to others people too. That when I was consider myself a part of a religion, I think my religion is good. I'm also always trying to do the good things. And the other thing is I want to share it to the other because I just feel this is so good. I want to share, but I'm not doing it because of free will or free mind, because this is the path I have taken, and that I want to share others to make sure they are on the same path as I am. So I want to give it them because I want them to feel the goodness that I feel. But now that I don't know if I consider as part of the any religion, then and then when I see that I'm able to say about all the good things about the different religions that I have been learning, and that how do they practice mentally, how do they live, what are the beliefs, and I was able to share it greatly about different religions. I feel more freedom, and that I'm not telling others about these religions because I want them to join a particular religion. But joining a religion, being part of the religious community or not, what is important is I think we need to assess yourself. We need to be aware of this tendency that we want others to do the same, because what we're doing is good. What we do, we believe in that, and we want others to believe in the same way as well. Maybe, and that that if you are like just like buying shares in the company, if you are like if you're a company that you are investing in, the share values are decreasing, then you feel that you want your company to be making more money, you want your shares to be going up in the same way. Those who belong to the religious communities tend to do that as well. If you're thinking your religion is not gaining popularity or not doing well, then you want your religion to be better, so that you try to do things as well. And that's sometimes also is a mistake as well, that in the schools we need to think about it as well. There should be if there is a, if we want to do if you want to encourage people to have people to practice religion in the school, then if you are going to teach about the Buddhism, then there should also be space for other religions, for Christianism as well. If there we have if we're going to encourage the Buddhist children to pray in school before they attend every day, then there should be different prayer sessions for different religions, for the Christian as well. And that in the same way, for they want to be able to go to, there should also be consideration of religion difference for other religions in urban areas or the rural area as well. So it is important for the religion, it is important for the politics to be secular and for the country to be secular. The same go for the secularism in the school as well, that the school we teach about the religion in general so that the children will learn about the other religions, but we should not be focusing on practicing one particular religion, because if we do that, we have to give space for others as well. That to summarize it, I'm not talking about others. When I reflect on myself, and that I think people tend to like being in a group as well, because you feel that other people are with you in your collectiveness, in your group, in your institution. You feel stronger because you have more people. So when you have more than one person, if you have a group of person, if you have a collective force, it can be good, but it can also turn bad as well. What is more important is to feel the freedom in your faith, the freedom in anything you chose to believe in or not to believe in. And it is important not to impose your will on the others. It is not important not to push what you believe on the others as well. I think it is important to accept others as they are a respective religion as so. And when we focus and I focus on the freedom, then it also makes me change my perspective on other religions. I was able to be able to look at it impartially with the religion. Their religion also had advantages, good advantages. Their religion has done some of their good things in the past. They also had done some mistakes as well. So I think it also helped me appreciate other religions more, and I'll be able to accept all the other different religions, and that the Islam religion, and that Islam religion, when once you are part of the particular faith, you cannot even give respect to the other religions. So that, I mean, something, of course, very different as well. Each and every one of us are different. It is important to accept the diversity of all of us. Then if we accept the diversity, then it is important to respect the freedom of faith. It is important not to impose your will or impose what you believe into the others. And that it is also important to be aware that you just want to, promote your religion or your institution as well, because it is important to understand that and see that as an issue. If not, although we may achieve democracy, the conflict may still remain in Myanmar. Thank you for the point you're talking about, that collective way of thinking can lead into extremism, as well as on that people tend to feel insecure by to handle this insecurity. People tend to have growing numbers, and then also try to discourage or look down on the others or something different as well. I have a question here, and I would like to give this question to Venerable Wayama. So in Myanmar, the Buddhist monks are belong to different sects or different groups, and that can that also lead to that dissension among the Sangha or the monks. Thank you for the question. The Buddhist teachings is more about it's about knowledge, it's about awareness. If we explained it in the message that it is important to think about, it is all about, that is practicing Buddhism in such a way that will not hinder you as well. It's something we want is of the layman as well, that Atta is about all about the self as well, the self or the self as is important to protect yourself. It is important not to harm the others. It is also important for yourself to feel the content as well. Then karma, or that is that the cause is that you rely on the others. You are independent. You rely on yourself. You don't rely on another person to be. You are self-reliant. You remain on self as. I'm not saying that there will always be feelings that you need this, or feeling of love, or feeling of other feelings of emotion towards the other. But what the Buddha said is that don't depend on the other. You rely on yourself. Self is more important. Being a self-reliant is that we rely to find peace and zen in yourself, or the kind of inner self peace, inner self zen is most important. Because if we focus so much on what we want or what we want to have, then all this greed and all this passion can also be blocking you from being able to find peace as well. And so when we say karma or the greed, is not about, we're not talking about lust, we're talking about that greed in general. When we say that a monk that is wanting to be the popular, the monk that is wanting to have more follower, that is also about the lusting for, or the greed for the other as well. That it is also important to understand that it is important to realize that Buddhism, the Buddhist teaching, does not go enter then it does not belong to the sects or the gangs or the groups as well. They're like, there are many sects in the Buddhism. The same go for the Buddhist, other Buddhism practicing countries too. They have a different, and all these are important. So it is not important a monk belong to which type of which group of Uyghur Sangha. What is more important is focus on the teachings of the Buddha, or the Dhamma itself, the truth of the Buddha, the noble truth of the Buddha. It is important to be self-reliant, because if you rely on the others, if you focus so much on the belonging to others, then you are forgetting on your inner self, the being able to be about self-aware about it as well. The Dhamma is always about being self-aware. The Buddha is the teaching is does not harm anyone, does not harm that. It is simply to be focused on yourself, to be free, to be independent, not to rely on the others, to be able to assess yourself and to be able to free yourself in such a way. So when you are trying to free yourself, when you focus on yourself or what you're doing, then you will not be used as a proxy by the others. You will not be used by those who exploit and politicize religion and do other ways as well. And that those who are following the orders of such religion, leaders of religion, it is important that to know about that. That is not the essence of the Buddhism as well. That and that because even that there's some of the monks which follow the militaries with the military, and that they are using the ma in such a way, they are only extracting the mass, that they are just taking the parts that suit them, and they are not looking into the essence of it as well. The Buddhism, the essence of the Buddhism is about do no harm, not harming the others, being not harming yourself, freeing yourself, focus on it to be able to in a way to hold what the truth in itself was. It is important to think about finding peace for yourself, finding the prosperity for yourself, to be reliant, but not to harm the others or not to disturb the others. The Buddhist teachings in politics or in religion or in the society, Buddhism is always about the self-focus on the self, not about harming others, causing problems. So like forming groups, and that these groups that some of the groups working along with the military, and that and also making sure that their followers also are in line with what the Buddha wants. It's very much anti what the Buddha's teachings are. It's not about the inner peace. It's not about harming others. I would say this is entirely against what Buddha's teaches us to. Thank you for your response. I think the essence is to focus on the essence of the Dhamma, or the noble truths of life as well. I don't have anyone raising hands, so I will be wrapping up our today's discussion here. I don't think we have any that questions. So I would like to give the floor back to Siamanunu Tessa to summarize. Do you want to add anything to today's conversation? Our main focus on that there is a diversity in faith, in the religions that we believe in. That so any comments on how can people reach mutual understanding and work together to build a better future for ourselves? Any remarks to end your contribution to this conversation? Thank you for inviting. And I'm thinking 3 points. Firstly, diversity is something beautiful. Diversity is a beautiful, colorful value for all of us. And that in it, we also need to accept that we don't have to look the same. We don't have to be the same. We don't have to look like the same at all. It is important. And thirdly, it is important to respect. It is important to respect, acknowledge, and value the diversity and welcome it. That's all I would like to add. Thank you very much. And thank you for participating in today's conversation. Next, I would like to invite Thuta. So Thuta, do you want to add anything to the discussion today? And I would like to give you the same question, that what will be your words when we talk about that diversity as well as reconciliation? I think Nonuta-san also shared diversity is something very beautiful. Indeed, if we look at the nature, if you look at the rainbow in the sky, the rainbow is not made out of one color. If we have only one color, that will be pretty boring. In the same way, the world is beautiful because of its differences in different colors, in different properties, in different natures. The nature itself is a diversity. So in the same way, I think it goes the same way for the religion, and different religions, the founders of different religions and the religious leaders across the history, and they have always, these religious leaders has been incredible. They have shared their teaching of, focusing on that are finding peace and that not causing harm as well. When every religion is propagated, however, there is a personal interpretation, and there is also our self-interest and our insecurities, and that our issues, our individual issues are that included in it. There are also tendency of our that we want more religious effectives or incentivization, because we don't want to face the reality, we want to escape the reality. So in my opinion, diversity is a most wonderful thing, and it is important, or we don't need to push our beliefs, our values onto other people, and we should not use that. We should not be judgmental. We should not judge the others with our values as well, because it's important to appreciate the world as it is. It is important to appreciate the diversity as it is. That in terms of religions, or whether you are of particular faith, or if you're an atheist, or if you do not, if you are if you are part of the world religions, or if you acknowledge and support the religions of the world, it is important to have mutual respect, understanding, and also that it is important to have that, also have the right to freedom as well. That it is important to hold on to your religion, what you believe in as an individual belief, but it is also important to be aware about the religious institutions, so collectivities, which can lead to not only good but also very negative implications for the others as well. Thank you, Thuta, for the contribution that we have discussed about that religion, as well as on the religion, and that religion and different perspectives, which is religion, where religion is used as a pillar to the military as well. Religion is, in fact, in a very broad topic, so we'll not be able to discuss all the aspects of the religion in one session as well. But we have already highlighted on the need for the religion, about the secular state. Religion focus on the search for freedom, the freedom of the self, and being aware about it as well. And that it is also about do no harm. It is also about not imposing your will on others, or your religion on others. It's also about the respecting the others' freedom of faith as well. So thank you for joining us, and I hope you have found it interesting. Thank you. See you next week.